with us again on this story. Faiz Shakir, editor-in-chief of Think Progress. Good evening, Faiz.
Hi, Keith. Thanks for having me back.
Sure, our pleasure. This is all perfectly legal, so what's the problem with it?
Well, the problem is disclosure, disclosure, disclosure. It's been our issue all along, Keith. When we talked about the fact that there were all these foreign companies who were giving money to the chamber and the fact that they're running these ads, $75 million worth from companies that we don't know and we don't know what their agenda is, that's the issue. People deserve to know both who's funding them, who's running these operations, and what their agenda is, and that's, of course, the case here. I'm heartened to see that there's actually a group of institutional investors who've given money to a lot of the chamber's members, and they came out today and said that we want disclosure from the chamber. So they're starting to feel pressure in their own ranks, and now you see some local chambers in New Hampshire, Connecticut, a few other places breaking off. So I think there's some increasing pressure now on the chamber to have to disclose or change its policies.
These papers, these legal journals that you mentioned, do they maintain that they have editorial independence?
Well, they maintain that. I mean, I think that they're presenting conservative news with a patina of fair and balanced news, and I think we've seen something like that before. It doesn't quite work out as they portray it. I think, the issue with a lot of this is that they have a perspective, and they are hiding from that perspective. They don't want people to know. It's almost as if they're afraid of the agenda that they support. If they are comfortable with the fact that they are supporting a perspective, then they should just come right out and say, we, the chamber, are funding these newspapers, funding these outlets, and we have a perspective, and we want you to know it. But they are afraid to present the fact that they're behind these things.
So paint the big picture for us. It's buy all the advertising time you can, and now it's buy the non-advertising time to the degree that you can. You don't have to buy Fox. They were already bought 14 years ago now. What's the full universe of ways? Is there more to it in the way the U.S. is the U.S. Chamber is pushing this pro-rich agenda?
Well, once you open the corporate floodgates of money, they come in and they burst in and they're trying to do anything possible to try to help their own agenda. And so one of my researchers who's led on this project, Li Fong, noted to me that if you try to Google U.S. Chamber and foreign, the first thing that'll pop up is a chamber website that distorts the facts about the case of its foreign funding. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that if you got millions and millions of dollars, you're going to do. You're going to give money to journalists to try to buy them off. You're going to give money to politicians to try to buy them off. And I think ultimately the problem is that we have to have some kind of regulation. I don't know if you saw the story today about McDonald's now in Ohio sending a memo to its employees telling them that they have to vote for Republicans. That's the kind of thing that we're going to see a lot more of if corporations can get away with the kind of behavior that they're exhibiting. They're going to tell all of the people in this nation that our corporate interests are greater than your personal interests.
So you buy the journalists, then you buy the independent organizations that would investigate any corrupt journalists, and you buy the advertising time, and you then use the advertising time against those people who are trying to convince you not to use the advertising time, the corporate investors that you referred to earlier. Last point, Democratic administrations traditionally have been better for business, simple dollars and cents math. How much of the U.S. Chamber's agenda is not really about business? How much is just helping the rich people who control the businesses squeeze out as much money out of those businesses and the economy as they can, as fast as they can?
That's exactly it, Keith. I think corporations don't see right and wrong. They see they don't care about good governance. They don't care about transparency. They don't even care about American jobs. They care about their bottom line. They care about whether they're making money and their profits are increasing. That might be good for them, but that's not good for us. Greed is not good for us. And I think that there's a challenge going on. This next Congress, we're going to have a fight over Bush tax cuts, whether the rich deserve more tax cuts, whether financial firms need to be more regulated. We're going to have those fights, and the chamber is trying to tilt the playing field so abnormally towards their perspective that it's going to drown out the American voices. And the challenge for us is whether we're going to step up and allow these corporations to take over. Democracy itself is at stake.
J.P. Morgan wishes he were alive today. Faiz Shakir, the editor-in-chief of Think Progress. Great, thanks. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Keith.